guys, it's Becky. I am back with another process video. Today I am going to be using the Simple Stories Reset Girl collection for my layout. Right here I just showed you this pattern paper and I had hand stitched it. I just went ahead and let this pattern paper kind of guide me on what I was going to do. So I did the hand stitching that follows the pattern of the paper, and it's just a basic stitch, just a few lines. I went ahead and cut out a couple tags. I put them together because on one side I'm going to mount a fiddle, but on the other side, on that side, is where I wanted to do my journaling. And on the original paper I cut out to put my fiddle on, it was a pattern on the back side I wouldn't have been able to write on. So I did also cut out the reinforcer rings to put on there and kind of finish up the tag pretty nicely. Right here I'm going through some of the embellishments that I had purchased with this collection, trying to figure out what I might want to put on this page. I am going to throw out a couple things. Here I'm just reading these sticker sheets, seeing if anything applies. I'm scrapbooking a photo of my dog, so a lot of the things don't really apply because this has a lot to do with planners. I'm going to pull out these little flowers, and I'm just going to put them right down there at the bottom of that tag on the inside. So when you pull the tag out and read the journaling, there will be a little embellishment down at the bottom. And it's because I guess I didn't have as much to say as I thought I did. I didn't fill that whole tag up with writing. So you can see I'm just throwing some of the things I think I might use up there on that page. I'm trying to talk a little bit quiet because it's early morning and my husband is still asleep. Can you hear my voice? This is the first time I've talked today, except for when I yelled at my dog. Because she's already being bad and we just woke up. So that tag is pretty much done. I don't think I do anything else to it. This right here is the other photo. I'm just going to go ahead and mount that on there. It's a photo of allergy medication. And see, I've had Bailey. I want to say she's 7 or 8 years old. I'm not sure. Well, she sleeps with me. And it used to be fine, but now I think I'm allergic to her. Like I wake up, my eyes are matted shut, coughing and stuff. And I just think that I have developed allergies to my little puppy. And so I titled this Love You Anyway, even though I'm allergic to you now. You can do that, right? Just develop allergies as you get older? I'm assuming so because there's something going on. So I'm going to go ahead and put this photo mat up on some foam tape. Now you saw I took several of the cut apart cards that I got with this collection and I just kind of layered them together and put the photo on top, popping it up so that tag will slide right down in there. And that's where my journal is going to be. On this sticker sheet, see that little border right there? It has a lot of the colors of this collection. I am going to cut off a little piece of that and kind of turn the end of it into a banner. And I'm going to put that right there at the bottom of that photo just to bring in more of the colors, because over on the right hand side of the page I am going to put several colors over there. These are some Prima Alphas. They're from the Hello Pastel line, and I got these at Tuesday Morning, and they're kind of they almost feel like a canvas letter, but I don't think it is canvas. And I like these because if you want to change the color, they take color really well. So you can make them all black to go with pretty much anything. I do really like these, and probably should have got a couple more packs since I got them at Tuesday Morning, right? But this was a long time ago and I didn't know if I would end up liking them or not. And I do. So, went ahead. I'm keeping that title right there on that dark pink strip, and it just is kind of going at an angle. It says Love You Anyways. Now I was going to put I Love You Anyways, but I didn't like how that I looked up there at the top. So I went ahead and just let it say Love You Anyways. This is a pattern paper, and I am cutting out some of these little squares. You can see they're two-tone squares, half one color and half in a different color. And again, I'm kind of letting the paper guide me on this as well. What I end up doing is I cut out several of these squares in colors I think I want to use, mostly pinks, but I did pull out brown with a kind of an aqua and a gray with the same dot in a smaller scale as what the left hand side of that background paper looks like. And I just go ahead, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do, so I was just like, let's just play. So I'm measuring it, and I don't know why, because I'm just going to throw that ruler to the side, because really, I'm not going to measure anything. I just came down from the center of one of the corners and put 2 little dots on either side of that dividing line. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out my crocodile and punch where those dots are. I'm going to punch holes. Then I am going to pull out some embroidery floss and kind of just tie them through the center and make them look a little tassel-y. Now I am going to use 3 strands on each one of these little squares. Essentially, I'm just making my own embellishment here. I tie them through separately so that they are kind of separate when they fall onto the square, but I bring out a pokey tool and kind of pull the embroidery floss strands apart so that it becomes more full. Also, when I tie them each strand of the embroidery floss I tie 3 times, so there's 3 little knots in the center that kind of give it a little bit of a lift on it. So I'm just going to go ahead and I trim up those. This is where I pulled out that pokey tool, and I'm separating the strands of thread. They're the strands of that embroidery floss, because you know the embroidery, the skein of floss comes with 6 strands. So I'm just kind of separating those out a little bit. And I'm just going to go ahead and do that to all of these squares. I do cut this out. Here's what it looks like. I don't know what it's supposed to be. I just didn't like any of the other embellishments that I have. I didn't like any of them for this layout, so just kind of came up with this, and this is what it is. So I'm showing you just a couple of them that I had done. Alright, so I pulled out this little file tab card, and I am going to slip that underneath the back of that photo mat. That is where it's going to go. Here are some flowers that I had fussy cut out of a pattern paper, and I'm going to make a little cluster out of each one of those squares. And by a cluster, I mean just a flower underneath, or maybe a bird on top, or maybe a flower and a bird. Just not a huge cluster, just a little bit of a layering point. Because with those little squares there, and actually they're turned up on their side kind of like a diamond, but they just look ridiculous sitting there by themselves. So I'm just going to add a little bit more. Now, would I do this technique again? Probably. I think it's cute. I really like the texture of that embroidery floss hanging there. The tassels that have been out, you know, you see them in a lot of collections. I do like those, but because of the way that they're bound up at the top with a big metal piece, they're just way too bumpy, and I don't know. I don't care for that much dimension. I don't mind dimension, but a lot of times the metal part is too bulky. But this kind of gives it, you still have your tassel. You can still use a tassel looking type bit, but not have it huge. I'm going to go ahead and start committing to where I have these little shapes put down. I'm going to start gluing them down. You see I took that flower away from that gray diamond square thing and stuck it over underneath that file tab. That is where it's going to sit. And here's a little bird. I just perch him right up on there. So these are just layered up. On the backs, okay, so on the backs of these squares, there's thread going through the back, so it's kind of full. So the way I adhered those down, as you can see, well, you might be able to see, off to the side I keep pulling off, or picking up some glue dots, and that's what I'm using on the back of these squares to adhere them. I am inking the edges. You see that one I forgot to do, so I very daringly did it after it was glued down, which has gotten me in trouble in the past. This is a layout I did in December, and I'm just now getting around to doing a voiceover for it. I like to make the pages and I like to edit the videos, but sometimes the voiceovers give me a bit of a hard time because I really don't talk that much, and it's hard to talk for 10 minutes. It's crazy. And a lot of times, like right here, I'm just gluing them down, and I would normally just cut this out and do it like a transition, and you come back and they're there. And someone had sent me a message and asked me, well, why do you do that? We don't get to see the process. Well, the process is boring, and not only that, but usually when I make a decision on why I did this way, I don't have a reason for it. So I don't know. I want to be able to teach people something, but usually I don't know why. Just because that's what I did. So, all right, I have one more square. No, that's a lie. I have 2 more squares to put down. If you saw that right there, I picked up part of that square and glued it down on the edge because like I said, I was using those glue dots and they did work. But some of the, I guess just because I handled those squares so much, some of them were a little bent up. So that one was too bent up. I just wanted to tack it down a little better. Right here, I went ahead and put down that file tab right here. And when I was sliding the journaling tag back behind there, it was popped up too much. I did not get that adhere down well enough. So my tag was catching on it. So I had to pull that up and glue it down a little better. So there it is. That part is ready to go, and I'm still not done with the squares. I have this last one to do. You can see over on that top right, I used another piece of that border strip, and I put it under that top square. And it's funny, it hangs over the page. And even after I had taken the pictures, which I just took them today, I made this in December. It is January 14th. Okay, I just took them today. It was still hanging over. I never did trim that. I just trimmed that this morning. Crazy. Okay, so this is a clip, one of those metal clips, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the hanging part, so I just took my scissors and cut it off. I'm going to go ahead and put that down right there by the fiddle over that flower, and I'm using glossy accents to do that. In my experience, it just holds it so far. Now, I haven't really went back and looked at any albums and saw any of them fallen, but then I haven't been scrapbooking that long, so it's not like I looked at any that were 5 years old. I put a little bird over on that tag too. He's really cute. I love these little birds that came out on this pattern paper. Here I pulled out the Heidi Swap Color Shine in Gold, and I give that a little sprinkle around the page. That is all I do to the layout. Thank you so much for joining me. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.